Welcome, everyone. My name is Christine Champion, and I'm the head of marketing here at Convirza. Thank you for joining us. So today we're here to talk about a topic we're very enthusiastic about, and that is AI-driven conversation analytics and how you can boost conversation conversions, increase close rates, and accomplish a plethora of other things by leveraging this tool. So on the call today, we have, besides myself, Jeremiah Wilson, our CEO, as well as James Walker, who is our head of sales and business development. And they're going to talk about AI and machine learning and how that ties into our conversation analytics tool. So what is it? How does it work, and why people use it? We'll also see it in action, and we'll get a look at some use case scenarios. If you do have questions throughout the webinar, please type them in, and we will answer them at our Q&A session at the end. So we're also going to have a few polling questions, and we're going to go ahead and test that out right now. So everybody should see a question pop up on their screen. It's a little time for some self-reflection here. What type of Zoomer are you? We'll have about 30 seconds to answer each question. I myself am infamous for one of these, and my colleagues on this call will vouch for that. All right, we're going to close it in a few more seconds. And everybody should see the poll results on their screen if it's working correctly. Oh, it looks like 0%. Either no one answered.
Nobody liked our polling.
No one liked our question. All right, well, hopefully no one answered, or I'll try to figure that as we go along. So,
well, to provide that bit of clarification on what type of Zoomer Christine is, she would be number 2, the mute button challenged Zoomer.
Yes, I am. Mute and unmute button challenged. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to Jeremiah Wilson. All right, Jeremiah.
Thank you. All right, well, let's jump into this. So now, do I have to close that to not see the
I am closing it right now, and you should be able to see it.
So let's talk about, today is about artificial intelligence, and specifically that's the back end of what we do with conversation analytics. And you may or may not have your impression of what it is, but it's a word everybody's using. And it is as simple. Artificial intelligence at its core means that there used to be something a human did, and now a computer or a robot or a program can do it for you. And in that simplest sense, it would be turning on a light, which meant, you took a candle and you lit a candle with fire, and that's your light. If you go back a while in history. And then over time, we get newer technologies, and then you get a sensor now when you walk in a room that can sense that you're there, turn on the light for you, and sense when you leave and turn the light off. That would be the simplest form of artificial intelligence. It's a task being done for you that you used to do. The reason why we didn't talk about a light switch as artificial intelligence when it happened is because really the concept wasn't there of art. We would never have thought of it in that sense at the time. But now it's happening all around us with the fact that a computer can program things and do tasks for you. So then you take a subset of that, which is the machine learning, and this is where you take lots of data. In our case, phone calls. You take millions of phone calls and you score them. You say, here's the things on this call that we care about and that matter, and we're going to break them down into little points. And then we're going to look at a million of them and see what happens. What stands out? Did this happen more than that? And when it does, we give that to the computer and we say, hey, you can see that this call is what we think it is, A, B, C, D. And now I want you to look at a million of them and memorize all of those. Of course, a computer can memorize them all. And then come back to us on the next call without us telling you anything and tell us what happened on that call after you listen to a million. That's machine learning. It's when you take a lot of data, you crunch it all, give it to the computer so the computer can learn and then go, okay, I've seen this before. Because I've seen a million of these, I now know what this is. And if you think about it, it's what a human does. A child grows up, sees things, and can eventually go, I know what that is. That's grandma, because I've seen grandma before. And that's what machine learning is. Then deep learning is where things are really getting exciting now. And that's where the computer can actually go and do this learning itself, the machine learning itself. So it will take a million pieces, and instead of us scoring it and breaking it down in pieces and saying, computer, this is what this means, the computer goes, I see some differences here. Let me start to categorize these differences into different places and make sense of the data. I don't know what it is, but I know that this happens, and when I see this, I see this, and when I see this, I see this. So that makes sense to me, and the computer figures that out on its own. And now with that deep neural network figuring these pieces out, the computer can now crunch all this data and come up with insights that are going to help with cancer and are going to help, solve the world's problems. And it's really exciting to watch that happen. But we're not going to solve the world's problems today. We're going to solve sales and customer service problems. And specifically, we're going to do that with the calls. So you got machine learning being a lot of money is being spent on this around the world. And you can look at this and see how much is being invested in it. We ourselves raised 25 million over the past years and put into this technology many hours of just scoring calls to do the machine learning piece, not the neural network piece, the deep stuff. And you can see how much is being spent. In general, most companies now, Fortune 500 for sure, are spending money to invest into this technology because in the end, when you walk in, you don't have to turn the light switch on. Well, what if you do that with the next task and the next task and the next task? Any task you do, if a computer can figure out how to do it, then you don't have to do it, and it can repeat itself over and over again. And from our standpoint, we started this company 20 years ago, manually doing everything. And then over time, we had computers doing more and more of the tasks so that we did not have to. Let me give you some examples on the next slide of what that looks like. We've got Netflix, for example, that they're getting recommendations that allow them to save $1 billion per year. Essentially, the computer's figuring out how to give the recommendations to people to save them money so that they don't have to spend as much money, for example, buying content that people aren't going to watch. Amazon, 20% of the C-level executives across 10 countries and 14 different industries are using AI. It's significant, and it is changing the way things are done. And Google's doing it all over the place. They've been listening to conversations and figuring out voices and having the deep neural networks that we're talking about involved in this. And this shows AI is better at machine learning than humans are. We found that to be true. Here's our use case. We used to manually score calls. It's expensive to get a human being to do it. We got that cheaper and cheaper and cheaper over time, but eventually we couldn't, of course, score all the calls. So then you get to a point where you have the computer able to listen to every single call and score every single call. And come back and say, well, we can score it manually, and we found that our people could be at about 90% accuracy because they were still making mistakes listening to it. And then you find over 20 years of doing this that the computer was able to get higher than 90, 92%, 95% accuracy, more than our humans were, and being able to actually listen to the details of a call with the accents, with the different regions of the country, and come back with it. So we've got 50,000 hours of the actually going in and scoring and doing all of this. We've gone through 640 billion analyzed calls in order to program our AI, and our accuracy is at 92% on an average across the board with those scores. And that means that rather than us going in and manually listening to a call, and we're going to talk in a moment about what we're listening for and why that's so valuable, now the computer's going in and doing that. So let's go to the next poll question. And I know nobody answered the last one. Take a moment and go in and answer the question. What are the top business challenges that you have? The reason we're asking this question is because we want you thinking about from an AI perspective, maybe a computer can fix it. Don't worry if you think it can or can't. Just go, these are the things I'm faced with. Some of our clients are faced with, I want to sell more. I want to close more deals. I want to know if my sales reps are as effective as they can be. And these are things that we're going to show you in a moment that the AI can do on a phone call. What are some things you're challenged with? So we need the music counting off, giving them time to go in and score it. So let's, did you want to go through those? Are we going to go on to the next one? There we go. Connecting marketing efforts to revenue. Sounds like the main one. Yeah, and this is something we're definitely going to be talking about here today, connecting marketing efforts to revenue. It's exciting time because obviously we're able to do it better now than we've ever done it before in marketing in general. But we're going to talk today about how the AI is going to help you accomplish that exact goal. So let's go into some of those things. Our Convirza AI is the tool to monetize your phone calls. You see here, uncover revenue opportunities. On the phone, your customers are saying things that are valuable to you. And some of them are obvious. Somebody calls up, they say, hey, I saw your ad and I'm interested in this. And especially if you're an advertising agency selling to somebody, you're going to come back and say, look, here's somebody who saw the ad that we put on there for you, and they're looking for business. And then the agent doesn't do anything with it. Now, it's very valuable, of course, if you knew that, not just on a few calls, but on every call where that happens, where you can come back and say, I know exactly how many times the customer, somebody called in and said, I saw your ad. And I know how many times they said, I'm interested in your product, because the system heard it and flagged it and said, here it is, here's all your calls. And then I know again, whether or not you asked them to come in, got a credit card, invited them to purchase the product, invited them for a reservation, whatever it is. And if you didn't, then we're going to flag that as well, and we're going to let you know that. So the second point here, optimizing phone performance, is we're going to make sure that you know how the people answering the phone are doing, and then we're going to be able to tell you how what the revenue could have been on the call. We're going to create that closed loop marketing attribution where you can take that data and you can put it into your system and say, we know what we spent on this campaign, we know how many calls we got, and we know that this is the conversion of those calls based on what we heard from our phone calls. You can predict call outcomes from lead intelligence. So this cycle allows you to then predict it for the next time. You evaluate sales agents' effectiveness, because you can now know whether or not this agent is closing more business than that agent, whether they're able to handle your calls and do a better job. And by the way, that data is really exciting, because you really like Sally, but Sally closes 4 times less than Jill, and you got to keep Jill, and probably time to let Sally, who you really like, because she's really nice on the phone, she's just not closing as much business as Jill. This allows you to see it so clearly that you just can't argue with the data. And then, of course, what do you do when Sally can't close it? That's this last point here, sales recovery or missed opportunities. You want an alert so you can get yourself or somebody else on the phone with that customer to save the deal. And if you can get that alert sent to you quickly enough or catch it real time, that's when the value really starts. That's where all of this happens, is instead of having a large call center where you've got coaches and people listening to calls and piping in on all of this, now the computer's doing that and can flag you so you can do the things you do every day and then get alerted when you need to pay attention. Yeah, let's go to the next one. So company-wide benefits of AI. From a marketing standpoint, you do have attribution with your marketing, so you can get that ROI. From a sales standpoint, you're going to know where your leads are coming from. You're going to be able to capture missed opportunities. From a customer service side, you're going to be able to take that customer service experience and improve it, because you can hear, like, you want to get an alert on your phone every single time when a customer says, I'm not happy, or you hear elevated voices on the call, you hear somebody dissatisfied language. Every time that alert happens, you want to know about it anywhere your people are. They're spread out, no call center needed. That's what this does. Human resources, the ability to understand, as I've already explained, where your effectiveness is with your team, and being able to use that data to train your team from one standpoint, or to make hiring decisions from another. And leadership. This is the kind of data that I want in front of me to know what's happening across the company as a leader in the business, to be able to say, where is my money being spent? Where is it being effective? And what improvements do I need to make? And that's what AI can do for you. So the good news is I've discovered inefficiencies. The bad news is that you're one of them. This is one of the most brutal things that comes up. I started this company 20 years ago as a training company in sales. And I would sit down with a company and say, look, I'm going to come in, I'm going to train your team. And we did all this stuff manually. And eventually it turned into where we are today with the with conversation analytics, analyzing phone calls across the board. But originally, you know, you'd sit down with a team member who'd pick up the phone and say, yeah, I can help, what do you need? Your price is $55. I can, anything else? No? Okay, thanks, bye. And hang up the phone. And I would sit down with them and I go, look, guys, be careful, because if you think your job is just to answer the phone and give a price, I can get a computer to do that work for you. Like you have to give a human touch. You've got to make this a relationship and personal. If you don't do that, a computer is going to do it for you. And that is more true now than it's ever been. And I still think that there is a great value in having a human being on the phone, but you got to be able to sit down with them and say, I hired you for the relationship. I hired you to think and to connect and personalize in a way that a computer still isn't yet capable of doing. And if you are not going to do that and you're just going to pick up the phone and you're just going to handle it like a computer would, then I probably should put a computer on the phone. This has been a very good message in getting people to wake up and realize they probably should change some of their habits that they're still holding on to. Let's go to the next one and talk about how conversation analytics works. I think it's just the slide that James is going to take over, or am I going to walk through this? I think I'm going to walk through this.
You can walk through this one if you want to go on to the next one.
Yeah, I'll go through this, so that's fine. So conversation analytics. What it is essentially is listening to the call and pulling details out of it and letting you know about those details. We have out-of-the-box solutions to do that, or you can customize them, and hopefully, if you are thinking right now, well, can conversation analytics do this or that? Well, then hopefully you're thinking about it and able to say, hey, Convirza, can you get this out of a call? We probably can, and we probably can automate it, and we probably can get you alerts onto your phone that we're going to be showing you here in a moment. So that's we have the out-of-box solutions. We also have the indicators that you can customize. It's natural language speech pattern recognition. And we actually take the conversation itself, not just words, but the whole sentence, the whole phrase. We can get content out of the natural language. It's dual channel. So this is important because at Convirza, we don't have single channel, meaning the audio just isn't as crisp and clean. It's one side. It's combining both right and left into one pattern. We actually separate them so we can hear both sides, and it gives us a much more accurate reading of what the customer is saying and what the agent is saying, and being able to look at that when we actually do our analytics. It's automated. You set it up, you get it working, and it takes control for you. Next, identifying sales skills and improving areas. This is what we're the best at. I mean, I have no question that you're not going to find any other company doing this out there that's going to be able to pinpoint sales skills opportunities, because this is where we came from. This is our beginning. We didn't come into this as a telephony company originally. We came into this as a sales skills training company and then moved into this technology. Automated call triggers for follow-up actions. So I want alerts. I want an email every time. I want it to push into my CRM. I want the data as a text message. I want to alert Bill every time that he hears Jill say this. I want to report at the end of the month that I can show my customer that says these things. So these can all be automated. Industry-leading library of call language. So being able to get the language out of more variations in the conversation itself, more variations in the library that we're able to use and pull from. And then we're able to group this and categorize this for you, which will make more sense as you get into this later. Again, BIA Kelsey, 66% of small to medium businesses consider phone calls their most valuable lead, meaning I'd rather have a phone call than a click. I'd rather have a phone call than an email response. I want to talk with the person. And by the way, BIA Kelsey will also point out you get a larger conversion rate when you do it right over the phone, when you're actually speaking with a live person.
Alrighty. I think this is where James is going to hop in.
James.
Hey everybody.
Happy to have his mute. You can't be on mute for this.
Oh, I am. What would I say that I am? I am probably an oversharer. You know, that would be another type of Zoomer. So I would suggest that I'm an oversharer, for good or bad. Yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve. You get what you get. So let's share. And what we're going to look at right now really is the back end of the platform. It's really about understanding how the software works. And so this is conversation analytics. And so this is actual, we're in our data set and in our data pool. And as Jeremiah mentioned, what we have is it's 2-channel recording. So we've got the agent, which is in green, and then the caller is in blue. And so as we scroll through and we look at this, we've got the entire conversation between those parties, again, in those 2 channels, recorded and transcribed. And so as we look at this is the full transcription. We can look at just the agent transcription. Similarly, we can look at just the caller transcription. And via our API, we can place this data where you'd like it, because it's not about data for data's sake. It's about data where it can be valuable for your business, where it can be applied and utilized. So from training to understanding the types of conversation that your teams are having, the types of challenges that they're experiencing, as well as their successes. Having that actual conversational data with context around it. I think it's important to understand that Convirza's model and the 50,000 plus hours of data science hours that have been spent, it's not keyword spotting. What we're looking at is contextual phrases. It's understanding, of course, there's keywords that are valuable within context. But if I was to say, I need to cancel my appointment, well, if it's AI based upon keyword spotting, that would be considered a conversion. Whereas Convirza, understanding the entire context, not only of the phrase, but the conversation, we know that that's a missed opportunity. Someone's not able to make their appointment. And so that's where we really get into this analysis. Now, this is analysis for a specific client. So these are indicators that this client is looking for. So the majority are out of the box indicators, as we can say, company name, et cetera, information received, name. And then you can see there's a column for human scoring. As Jeremiah referenced, this is an ongoing process that Convirza continues to get better, and we continue to invest into that betterment. It's not about saying, hey, we are satisfied or satiated with 92% accuracy. While that's, good, it's not ultimately where we want to be and where we want to go. And so again, of course, we identify keywords, and these keywords are specific, many to the industry, to the channel, to the vertical that we're working in. And so we're taking this keywords with contextual analysis of the entire conversation and coming up with those scores. And that scoring is ultimately what this is about. As we think about what we're doing in this space, it's really about making sure that we've got a resource that's going to be valuable for you and your team. And I think that this flow of really how conversation analytics works is really the heart and soul. It's the meat and potatoes of what we do. If you're a client, then you'll have some familiarity. If you're not a client, we'll walk you through this. But the idea is you understand, we're receiving phone calls via our tracking numbers, and so we have the ability to be able to be involved. We can be involved to analyze that call. So as Jeremiah referenced, the calls come into Convirza and they're recorded in 2 channels. That 2-channel recording allows us to listen for different things. If I was calling into one of your businesses today as a caller, our analysis would be different and have different expectations for what questions I might ask, what I might be looking for. Similarly, we're going to be looking for different things on the agent side. And so that's really this conversation analytics. And then all calls are scored. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can utilize and leverage these scores. If you are doing call review, what we can facilitate is helping you understand those calls on the left and the right of the bell curve. Years ago, I remember listening to all calls, for my sales team. And I bet many on this call can remember that time when we used to listen to a lot of calls. Now, with all of the technology that we have in our world, it almost feels like we're busier than we've ever been before. And so the ability to listen to all calls is tough. And so what we would suggest is, hey, here are the top 5% of your calls. Here are the bottom 5%. Let's celebrate those successes. And then let's make sure that we're utilizing our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, make sure that we're leveraging training opportunities. If you're working with us, we'd love you to leverage our custom scorecards that we can build for you, because what we'll provide is, hey, here are the calls to listen to, here are the scores, and then based upon the SOPs that we would create together, we're able to score those calls in such a way that reflect what your goals are. But further, it's about digging deeper. It's about understanding really, what is the meat and potatoes of this call? Is there something that can be garnered from this? And so we talk about opportunities. Now, opportunities can be as simple as during business hours. If a call goes to voicemail, it could be nice as a business owner to know, hey, I've got a team that are on the phones and we should have those phones answered. Perhaps we're understaffed. Perhaps there's some negligence with regards to a team member. And so knowing that information, within a minute or two of the completion of that call being left on voicemail can be invaluable to a business to know, hey, we've got to react and reach back out. Similarly, we can look for those opportunities that are missed sales opportunities. In fact, I was having a conversation with a transmission shop the other day, and I asked a simple question. How much does a missed opportunity for someone calling with regards to a failed transmission, how much might that cost you? And he said, that's a $3,500 miss. And so what we want to make sure is that we're identifying and providing those insights for you so that you have the opportunity to take action, so that you can re-engage with those individuals. And what I mean by that are, when we talk about re-engagement, it can be as simple as in this example, dental office receives a new patient inquiry, but the appointment wasn't booked. I've worked for many years and have with a lot of dental practices. We have a significant presence within the dental space. And so, if a dental practice is busy and an opportunity based upon the call, someone's rushed, and they just don't quite take those steps. They don't quite handle it properly. That ability for our AI to detect that missed opportunity and then send to that patient the information to say, hey, let's get you scheduled. That's what this is about. It's about taking the data from the call and then leveraging that to help you grow your business. Here's another example. This is, similar. It's just in an apartment scenario. Similarly, you have an apartment manager who is, slammed with back-to-back showings and, doing their best, but ultimately, they didn't make that connection. They weren't able to schedule that appointment. And so if we have a call that all buying indicators are positive, everyone's interested, but darn it, they just didn't get it done. That ability to be able to reconnect and re-engage. And as Jeremiah mentioned, it's like a light switch. If you think about that, if every single time there was a mistake within your processes, you had to go around and flip a light switch. Think about it. All day long, all you'd be doing is just in a reactive way, flipping light switches. What we want to do through automation is have that ability to be able to automate that switch so that those lights come on when you need them to. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what this is about. I say to every single group that we speak with, if Convirza can't help you make money, what are we doing? That's really what this is about. This is about recapturing opportunities. It's about understanding what happens on your calls and then leveraging that for growth. This is another, and this is one that I'm so excited about. This is something new that Convirza is bringing to the market, and it is revolutionary. I've been in the reputation management space or review aggregation space, for 6+ years. And what Convirza is doing with AI is absolutely remarkable. So many of you are probably aware of processes or systems that allow you to send a review request. You can send out a text message to get a review, because we all know the importance of our Google My Business pages, not only for our own businesses, but for our clients. And so that ability for our AI, based upon the conversation to determine, yes, existing customer, recently completed service, they were thrilled, they were happy. We can detect tone. We can detect what happened on that call. And so based upon the AI model, that scoring, to be able to automate and send a review request will absolutely revolutionize the review industry. Because the challenge, I think, as we all know, it's not that we don't educate our employees or ask our teams to say, hey, we'd love your feedback. But the likelihood or the percentage of the time that they do it, or do they know when the right time to do it is, can be tough. And especially when you're dealing with your reputation, to know that you're asking when you know someone is thrilled with the service that they've received from you. I think it's absolutely critical and exciting to share. Again, another idea, in the automotive space. We work significantly, again, with perhaps many of you on this call in the automotive space. So to be able to identify and understand, hey, what happened on the call is a missed opportunity. Someone was inquiring, let's say they were asking about, a transmission, as I had a real conversation this week. If we detect that there's a missed opportunity and there is potential revenue either for your own business or one of your clients, what we want to make sure is that you're helping them generate more revenue, because it helps you become, certainly stickier. That's really what this is about. It's about making sure that either for your own business or for your clients, that you're providing tools and resources that become invaluable to them. Ultimately about, creation of additional revenue for your company. And so that's what I was going to share, Jeremiah. I'll pass it back to you.
So I'm going to give another example along that line where we have some clients that really get nerded out by the data, and so we want to talk about some of that right now so you can see it. Stochastic in particular is one that he gets so crazy about the data at Stochastic, and I love it. He loves what we're giving him. I love watching what he does with it. But he's in the HVAC space, got a lot of customers in that space, and for him, the missed opportunity notifications are huge. Being able to get back to his end user and say, look, as the agency here that's providing this marketing resource, I want you to know that you're missing opportunities, and here they are, and here's what you could do about it. And then a lot of it is about the reports, scheduled callback reports, being able to say, these are the people you need to call back now based on what we heard on the phone. And of course, nobody's listening. This is all the computer doing this. He's getting these results where you call back and follow up with these people. And so there's an alert that you get that says, here you go. And then again, there's this agent performance. So this gets back to our core as history as a company, where we manually listen to a call and be able to say to them, and we worked with universities to take all this data and go, check this out. We're finding that simple skills like asking open-ended questions has a direct relationship to the outcome of a call. If you don't ask for the sale by saying, can I go ahead and reserve this for you? And if you're just passive and wait for the order, there's a massive difference in which companies close business and don't. You can get 100 calls here and 100 calls here, and this company grows, and that company just continues flat because they're satisfied with results from mediocre agent performance. And Stochastic's been able to take that and use that as an agency to be able to say, here's the data that really matters. This is taking it full circle. We're able to come back to you and say, here it is. And it's been revolutionary. And so we get excited when we can get in, understand the business, understand what your needs are and can customize, if we don't have out-of-the-box solutions, things that will really benefit you and your end users. You just heard from James, and I'm wearing this Convirza T-shirt today. By the way, I hope that you'll reach out to him. If you're an existing customer, that you'll reach out to us. If you don't have this shirt, I want you to reach out to them and ask for it. We'll get one sent to you if you're an existing customer. If you're not an existing customer, reach out to James and schedule a time to have him show you this stuff and ask you questions about how we might be able to customize something for you, and we'll send you a shirt. So this is the shirt. I love this shirt. I wear it all the time. Another opportunity, by the way, AHED. Saw a 50% reduction in the time reviewing calls. Now, this is a company where it was a really nice fit for them because they had human beings listening, and now they don't need human beings listening. It's just, they listen to instead of going through and listening to every call, they listen to just the calls that the AI told them they want to listen to, and it saved them a significant amount of time. Now, they're small. It was just 90 minutes. They didn't have a huge call center. It was a very small team, but guess what? It made a difference for them, and 90 minutes adds up over time. So they were able to take our solution and improve or save time for them on a very basic, very basic principle of here's our AI, turn it on, here you go, and they save themselves a lot of time. So give us an opportunity to sit down and show you some of these things so you can no, go ahead, we'll go to the next slide.
You know what, my slides aren't populating correctly, so we can talk through these, but it looks like I'm having some issues, but you can talk through the reporting suite. There are supposed to be reports on there if you want to talk through that.
Yeah, James, why don't you pipe in and jump in on the reporting suite, because I know you're talking about those every day, and we've got some newer ones now. If you're still there, James.
I am here. If you'd let me share, Christine, I'll just share.
Yeah, I'm switching on over to you. All right. You should have control.
Perfect, thank you.
Leave it on your screen, so it looks like I'm having some issues. I'll have you click through the rest.
So this is, for those of you who are clients, you're familiar. You can see this is just a demo account here in Convirza. And we talk about a reporting suite. My suggestion with many clients is it's about leveraging the value of these reports, not only for your own business, certainly understanding a call log, having, callback reports, as Jeremiah had mentioned, analytics summary, calls by region, which is a heat map, et cetera. Having an extensive reporting suite like this that you have access to, and we'll use the call logs as an example. I'll just hide those 27 filters, is that you have that ability at a glance. This is the default of 7 days of all of your call volume, all of your call logs. You can see day by day how those calls are coming into your business, ultimately where those campaigns are coming from, all of that data. Further, then we have the basic call reports. So you can simply click play a call, and it'll immediately play that call for you. And so it's all about just making things efficient. And that's certainly for use within your business. We can schedule these reports. So it's as simple as just, selecting this icon and scheduling delivery. So we can send those reports out on, a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever your need set is. Further, as we get in and understand your business and understand the use case within it, what we've expanded with many clients is saying, hey, we want this set of reports to go to our C-suite. We want this set of reports to go to marketing. We want this set of reports going to sales. And so that ability to be able to automate that process so that all of that data is forthcoming to the locations within your business where it is valuable. Again, it's not about data for data's sake. Now, for those of you who are in the reseller space, whether you're reselling leads, like many of our clients are, or in the marketing space, doing, branding for companies, websites, et cetera, that ability then to be able to leverage a reporting suite like this, again, going back to that idea, hey, if we can't help you make money, what are we doing? Again, it's really about making sure that you have those tools and resources within your team, within your group, to be able to do that. And so that is, short and sweet about reporting. Again, to learn more, we want you to reach out and get a shirt and spend some time with me, because what we really do with calls, I'll spend typically 15, 20 minutes with a business, whether you're an existing client or a new opportunity. And what we strive to do is tailor the platform so that it benefits you. One that I'm quite surprised often that many of our clients aren't aware of is something as simple as white labeling. So let's say that you're working with clients. As I expand into this, you can see the second tier within our 3 tiers. Again, Convirza is a platform that, simply stated, is 3 call tracking platforms stacked on top of each other. So it's incredibly robust. But that ability to be able to have your clients' access be, singularly based upon their data set, their user permission. So when I apply this here, you're going to see the platform change. And now it's a completely customized platform. So if you start doing this for your clients, again, as we think about this opportunity to generate revenue, this opportunity to leverage, for many of you that are on the call, tools that you already have access to that are simply being underutilized. So if all of your reports could then have brand identity for your clients, if it can all be demonstrated this way, not only the platform, but the reporting suite, I think there's great value in being able to leverage that piece. As well as we think about, go through those case studies, just to complete this here, Jeremiah.
I know you're going to get to that, but you mentioned 3 different layered platforms. And so for anybody wondering, we did acquire a significant amount of business from one of our competitors. And in order to do that, had to take all of their features and bring them into ours. And we also had another whole platform that we kept and had all those features brought into ours and a whole new set of features. So we've really been able to, that wasn't maybe the smartest decision to do, but after many years of pulling all those pieces together, all of it's now integrated into one platform. You want me to go into visual performance since you went out, or my
I'm happy to continue or pass it back to you, Jeremiah.
Okay,
however I can facilitate.
I'll take it. So weekly infographics. So some of the fun things that come from this, there's some really amazing data. And to be honest with you, we know that there is more gold in the calls than we've just shown you today. AI can find it, get it, give it to you in an API that you can pull into your platform and you can use in very exciting ways. Whether it was our integration with Acquisio, where they can have automated changes happening to their marketing strategy based on what data they were getting out of the artificial intelligence. But this data here is just more examples of that. We have amazing things, and each time we talk with a customer, we're able to get more information, more ideas, I should say, on what we can do with this data, because our customers have really cool questions or problems that they want to solve.
And one of the things that we're doing as well is really trying to change the game with this type of data. And what I mean by that is, so frequently we hear that, folks are concerned about, oh, you're listening to my calls, and they get nervous, and there's apprehension and concern around calls being listened to or calls being analyzed. And so this type of data can really turn the process of listening to calls and scoring calls and agent performance with calls, and it can make it where it's a game for them that they can win. And so it's that ability to provide on a very granular level, how is each of my agents doing within my company? Because we can roll up the scores for your agents and provide an aggregated score of how each agent is doing, and subsequently provide infographics like this to your team members, so that instead of there being apprehension about, oh, there's going to be call review this month, they're excited because they know how they're doing. They know the performance that they're experiencing. They have this data, and I think that type of information is really what makes the difference day to day with our teams. And so as we start providing these types of resources, that's really what we're looking to leverage.
Thank you. Well, here's our next poll question. What excites you most about Conversation AI? We're at the end here, and we want to get a sense from you on what you like, what you heard, what interests you. So is it the ability to score leads? Is it eliminating the need to manually listen to calls? Is it detecting missed opportunities? Is it automating the review requests? And is it analyzing team member performance? What stood out to you, please? Take a moment and press the button.
We had a few chats come through that they weren't able to submit, so we may or may not get results. So we have a few coming through, so that's good.
But if we don't get results, we're asking these questions so that we can understand what each of you wants. So if we'd love to talk with you later and ask these same questions and understand what you're thinking.
Right, we got quite a few coming.
Yeah, because I'm not able to. I may not be able to press it because I'm not an attendee.
About 5 more seconds, so it looks like there was just a little delay maybe in the other polls. So I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to respond. All right, I think we got some good response this time, so I will share those results.
Detecting missed opportunities looked like it stood out as the highest, the ability to score leads being second. And this is one of the questions where I want to get in with somebody and say, specifically, let's talk about your leads and what you value so we can understand the exact scoring you're looking for and then be able to create that for you. I'm sure James is the same way on this. I really want to understand that, what you're thinking about that. We also had some with analyzing team member performance, which, as I mentioned, that's our roots. That's where our roots come from. And then some with eliminating the need to manually listen to calls. If that's you, boy, this is every time when I'm on the phone with somebody who says, yeah, I listen to calls, I'm like, oh, great. I mean, there's just no question that they're the right fit for us, that we're the right fit for them, because you don't have to listen to calls anymore. Let me tell you why, and I would, I think that there's been concern over the years of, well, is AI really going to be as good as a human? The answer is yes, it is. And if it isn't on a specific score, if there's something that, that the human being can still do better, we can now fix that. And we do that through that machine learning process. It does take us a little bit of time. And it does take thousands of calls of where we do manually score them, but once we're finished, we can still have the system do what you want. So we can get the system to be as good or better than a human on scoring. So that's the message, AI. What questions do you have? You can write them into us, and we'll answer them here. You have that little message chat bubble. You can do that to ask questions. Do we have any questions,
We do
Christine?
have couple questions that came through. Do you integrate with other platforms such as Google Ads or HubSpot?
You want to take that, James?
Yeah, I am one of those crazy advocates of HubSpot, as Jeremiah well knows. So I've worked at several companies where I've brought in and migrated groups to HubSpot, facilitated workflows, and one of the challenges always is just the proper process of filling out a contact record, a company record, etc. And so being able to utilize our API, we've got a native integration for Acquisio, so to be able to take information that happens on your call and be able to fill fields out within HubSpot, Salesforce, etc. Really, wherever you want the data to live, it doesn't require that it lives within Convirza. All of that data can be populated to those fields where, again, you know, it's not data for data's sake. It's about getting that data where it's going to be valuable for your team.
And we do have many clients who do not use our platform, do not even white label it. They pull it off, put it on their platform, and present it to their customer. And it's through the API or through JSON file or through whatever it is that they're able to do that. So yeah, we can integrate with those and many more. What other questions do we have?
One more question. Can this be a standalone solution? I have a sister company that doesn't use call tracking. Can I just use conversation analytics?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. In fact, that's really the growing sector in our company, is saying, you know, again, we didn't start as a call tracking company. We started with solutions to improve phone performance. And in the end, while we are definitely a call tracking company, that is not our main goal. Our main goal is get the rich data out of your team's performance or out of your leads and your marketing campaign to get that ROI. And that is done not with necessarily call tracking. We can take data. You can give us a dump of data. We can give you back all the analytics, and we can do it with the millions, or excuse me, billions of calls we've already analyzed, so we can use that data for your subset. So absolutely, you do not need to have call tracking in order to use our AI.
All right.
And just one thought to expand on that, Christine. I think that's, again, a huge differentiator, because as we talk about AI, one of the unspoken aspects of it as you work with groups is the cost associated with building out indicators. And so you may have a group says, oh yeah, we can do AI for you, but you get 12 indicators and there's nothing specific to your vertical, your business, those ultimately conversations around how your business functions. And so with over 640 billion calls analyzed and continuing to grow daily, we have that data, or much of it, so that there can be success and performance really out of the box, so that you can know, hey, we're getting data that's going to be really valuable for our team. Just thought I'd share that.
Great, absolutely. All right, well, I think we're a few minutes over, so we will wrap it up. Again, thank you everybody for taking time out of your busy day to be with us today. If you don't already have conversation analytics and you want it, we are offering everybody on this webinar a month of complimentary service. So we'll send out a follow-up email with information on how you can take advantage of that after the call, along with the recording of this webinar. We do have a number of webinars planned throughout the rest of the year. Our next one's on June 9th. It's around, the topic is smart spending with PPC ads. So we're going to talk about how you can maximize your ROI through call reporting and bid automation tactics. So if that's going to be something that's piqued your interest, be sure to register for that one as well. But that does it for today. So everybody have a great afternoon, and thanks again.